very, very, very prejudiced when it comes to this subject. Cars. Britain's least loved car, according to this article, is a £51,000 middle-class staple. Now, cars go right and they go wrong, and sometimes you can have, your love-ins and love-outs with them. But whoever did this survey, they haven't got a blooming Scooby-Doo. It's the darling of the middle-class school run, so it says here. Endorsed by the likes of Victoria Beckham and Jamie Oliver, the Range Rover Evoque has fallen flat with Motus. It's named Britain's least loved vehicle in an official survey. It costs 51,000 quid. Introduced in 2020, spends on average 21 days a year off the road for repairs, according to research by Which. But then, Which goes on to say, Land Rover told Which is moved to logistics husband, blah, blah, blah. The company also claimed the survey was based on a sample size of 44 hybrid Evoque owners, equivalent to 0.2% of its customer base. 76% of all statistics are made up. Mark my words. And then it goes on to talk about this car. And hold on, let me bring in an expert. Jeremy Feeney is a motoring expert, joins me now. Jeremy, good afternoon. Hi, Jeremy.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Well, we're talking about Land Rover products, aren't we?
Well, yes, so Jaguar Land Rover have told which has apparently voted in this survey that the Range Rover Evoque has fallen flat with Motus, named the least loved motoring vehicle. They say, the company says, that the survey is based on a sample size of 44 hybrid Evoque owners, equivalent to 0.2% of its customer base. So it sounds as if that this survey is a load of old nonsense.
They are. In fact, I have to say they are the particular Land Rover product, which is the thing I've had more experience with. I can tell you such a terrible horror story about a Defender, brand new. This is when they first came out, which I put out on lease to a customer of mine, a very good customer. The vehicle broke down. The loan vehicle broke down. The next vehicle they sent to him also broke down. It was actually a tale of misery. The dealers, their dealers are not up to coping with the problems. The vehicles are inherently unreliable and plagued with numerous problems with electronics. Unfortunately, they are an aspirational vehicle, which is what people want to own.
Well, I guess so. I guess so, and I understand all of that. And I have been the proud or otherwise owner of a Jaguar for quite a few years now, and I'm now on my second one. They did a big change in about 2021. They changed all the technology. I agree. But
the problem with
yeah, go ahead.
The problem with surveys, it's like the motoring journalists vote Car of the Year, or always used to vote Car of the Year. And if you look back at the vehicles that have come up Car of the Year, based on focus groups, based on surveys, invariably they are exactly, as you say, nonsense.
But this is so the car which they love the most.
The people they canvass are people who are dedicated lovers of the particular mark.
The car that they're
not getting an unbiased opinion of the product.
No, they're certainly not, Jeremy. I mean, the car that they love the most, the Lexus RX. I wouldn't have one of those if you paid me all the tea in China. Well, I might actually if you gave me all that money. But this is an awful, horrible, hateful car. It's boring. It's bland. It's plastic. It's dull. There's nothing to recommend a Lexus RX. Why on earth and how on earth have they allowed this survey to come up with that as the number one car? It's rubbish.
Well, I think the problem, you see, the problem is that you tend to get, it almost becomes a bit tribal. You get a sector who are dedicated to a particular mark. I agree with everything you say about the Lexus. It's a bland, very uninteresting product compared with something like a Range Rover, which is a superb vehicle in terms of its looks, the luxury that it affords, the performance and everything else. However, if you start comparing reliability, if you start looking at overall cost of ownership and depreciation, all the objective reasons for buying a vehicle, you would get a very different result in your survey.
You might do, but
at the end of the day, it's driven by emotion. It's driven by, the appeal and the status that is afforded by a particular vehicle. I mean, you mentioned the Lexus. Even the Lexus is considered an aspirational vehicle. Perhaps a Kia Sportage, which I would say is a better vehicle because it has a Kia badge on the front, is not.
Listen, I'm sure lots of people love Kia Sportages and all that sort of business. In the bin is where I would put those. I just find the design of them is just horrific. MGs, I don't know why anybody buys one of those. The seats are like sitting on marshmallow. The interior is plastic. The design is like somebody who just gave up on life. You have a look at BMWs, which I don't know. They seem to have forgotten how to design cars. Used to be absolutely wonderful, amazing, brilliant, and now you look at them and they get to the rear end of the car and you think, oh, this is knocked off home. They just couldn't be bothered to finish designing it. Whereas, and you look at something like Mercedes, beautifully designed, but then sadly, when it got to manufacture, all the bits fall off. So I just don't understand why people keep picking these cars that have either no soul, no wonder about them, and we should be more objective about our choices.
Yes. You're absolutely right. I mean, one of the factors that I believe is never considered really is depreciation. Now, because I operate in the world of leasing and contract hire and so forth, and that part of the industry, we're obsessed with depreciation and residual values and calculating this into cost of ownership. But that's the biggest expense any motorist will have if he's going to buy the vehicle new now, and then in 3 years' time. You should perhaps be choosing something that will not drop massively in value.
Okay, so regardless of cost of perhaps the beginning, where are you going to fare best when it comes to depreciation of a motor vehicle?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. You'll have to...
Where are you, regardless of cost, where are you going to fare best when it comes to depreciation? What choice should you make?
Sorry, I'm sorry. My sound is
no, but clearly technology not necessarily at the grasp at the forefront here. Regardless of cost, so we'll try 1/3 final time. Otherwise, I'm giving up. Right. Regardless of cost, where would your money be to avoid depreciation?
Where would my money be? What would I choose? I would probably choose a Kia Sportage.
Oh no!
That would be.
No, you've ruined it in the bin. What's wrong with you? Have you never driven a car?
You would choose a Lexus.
I wouldn't choose a Lexus. No.
You would choose a Lexus above a BMW or a Mercedes.
No, I wouldn't choose any of them. I'd choose an Aston Martin. I said, regardless of cost. I mean, what would you choose? Something which is stylish, something which has got some heart and soul. And you gave me a Kia Sportage.
If we're talking regardless of cost, yes. Well, I suppose probably a cabriolet, which narrows it down somewhat. And then if we're going in terms of irrespective of price, I would suspect probably a Bentley.
Oh, you see, now you're talking my language. A Bentley or a Porsche, regardless of cost. And I do understand that, for most people, for all of us, it's all out of. But this is the great thing about cars, is that we can fantasize about the sort of car. Would I like to have a Lamborghini? No. I'm 54 years old and should never be allowed to get in or out of one, which is why they make them so low. But would I, in my brain, would I love to have a Lamborghini? Sure, wonderful.
Well, don't you think that what you're now touching on, well, not you're indicating, of course, is the problem, that a lot of the vehicles on the wish list would be better staying on the wish list. And I think Range Rovers and other Land Rover products should stay on your wish list.
Just finally to you, Jeremy, before I let you go. So, Jaguar, of course, no longer making cars until they bring out their new cars. They went for their massive rebrand. Caused a big old hoo-ha.
First time since 1935 you can't buy a Jaguar in this country.
Exactly. So, when they bring out the new ones, do you think they've done a massive act of self-harm with their advertising, or do you think, hold your nerve, maybe they'll come up with something good?
I think the problem they're going to have when they come out with this vehicle, this pure electric, fabulous piece of engineering, is that the Chinese have got there first.
There we go, Jeremy Feeney, motoring expert. Thank you very much indeed for joining us and provoking me into some extraordinary discussions about Kia Sportage, really.